This is what research used to look like before we had computers. It's easy to forget that there was a point in time not that long ago where you didn't have the option of building a digital library of images of anything. And so if you wanted to be a collector and you wanted to do research and you want to have a documented record of all the things that you use as reference points, you had to basically become an amateur photographer. This photo collection is from one of my mentors, Jack Rosenthal, who was a very famous philatelist who was known for his work in both the Trans-Mississippi and the Columbian issue, as well as many different proofs. And you can see through his photographs that this was his focus. Some of my absolute favorites here are this one, which is actually not an issued stamp, but was a design that was not issued by the post office, but was considered by the printing office. You also have the 90-cent pictorial with Abraham Lincoln here, as well as the 4-cent Trans-Mississippi, which is one of my personal favorites, and the Catalin Storm vignette that was used to design the very famous $1 Catalin Storm stamp. And it even has examples of ephemera items like this one, which is a ticket to the Columbian Exposition in 1893, where the Columbian series was issued by the post office in the United States government. As collectors, we're so used to having these high-quality images whenever we shop on eBay or with an auction house or even from a dealer that we don't remember what it could have been like just 70, 80 years ago. For the longest time, all catalogs and price lists had zero illustrations, and when you bought something, you bought it based upon a text description of what you were buying. This right here is the 1946 catalog for Franklin Delano Roosevelt's auctions, which was handled by H.R. Harmers after his death and was one of the most popular auctions at that point in time, and he was a very famous collector. There are 385 lots in this catalog, and these are the only pictures that are provided, which means that for the tens of thousands of stamps that are offered, you have 22 lots that are pictured, all of which are single items. Just 10 years later, in 1956, Harmer was in the middle of selling the very famous Caspary collection, which is still considered one of the greatest stamp collections that was ever formed anywhere. This Caspary collection actually includes pictures of almost half the lots, and this is a bound volume that was put out in the 1980s of the originals, and at this time you can see that they were able to illustrate about half of the lots that were available, but they were still black and white images and definitely not the high resolution that we expect today. Even as late as 2000, it was still very, very common in auction catalogs to just have black and white images with just a few color photos. This right here is the 2000 nutmeg sale of my friend Jack Rosenthal's Wyoming collection, and you can see that there are images on the back that are color, and there's a single page on the inside that has some color photos. But then the remainder of the sale, although well illustrated, does still have black and white photos, and although for identifying stamps, it really isn't that big of a deal, when you're trying to look at postmarks or see what color things are, it definitely does make a difference in what it is that you're buying. The advent of computers and the internet is an incredible boon to collectors, and it is very easy to forget how good we have it and how hard the people that came before us had to work in order to get the same enjoyment out of their collection that we do today.